Hello, my dear students. Welcome to Shri Jayendra Rank Zone classes. I am your mentor and your friend for the subject biology, and I will be taking the zoology section, that is the animal science. My dear students, in the previous lecture, we have learned about different evidences of evolution, that how we can connect different ancestors and the pattern of ancestry through fossils, that is the paleontological evidences, then the morphological and the anatomical evidences in terms of homologous and analogous organs. Then he came to know that how can we connect, or how can we learn the evidences, the connect between different species, different population, different organisms through biogeographical distribution. So today's topic is that evidences from biogeographical distribution mean it basically help us to know the habitat and the location of different organisms. The study of geographical distribution, the study of geographical distribution basically of animals and plant species in different parts of the earth is called biogeography. So biogeography is the study of distribution of different plants and animals in different areas, in different locations on this planet. Different animal species occurring in an area known as what, fauna, and those of plants are known as what, flora. On basis of fauna and flora, Alfred Russel Wallace divided the whole world into six major biogeographical regions called realms. These realms are the biogeographical regions which have been divided by Alfred Russel Wallace to basically identify and to know that okay, that particular organism is a inhabitant of that particular region. So these realms are further of different types. Nearctic. So Nearctic realms is present in North America from Mexican highlands to Arctic highlands and Greenland. So Nearctic realm is basically extending from Mexican highlands to Arctic islands and Greenland. Then Palearctic realm, it extends from Europe to North Asia up to Himalayas and North Africa to Sahara Desert. The Palearctic realm basically help us to know that this region extends from Europe to North Asia till Himalayas and from North Africa to Sahara Desert. Neotropical realm, it extends in Central and South American region, Mexican lowlands and West Indies. So the neotropical realm is basically having Central and South America, then Mexican lowlands and West Indies. Mexican highlands, they are the part of Nearctic realm, and neotropical realm, the Mexican lowlands, Central and South America and West Indies. Oriental realms, Asia, south of Himalayas, India, Ceylon, Malay Peninsula, Sumatra, Borneo, Java Celebes, and Philippines. So Oriental includes Asia, Philippines, Java Celebes, Borneo, Sumatra, Peninsula, Malaya, Ceylon, India, and the south of Himalayas. Ethiopian realm, South Africa from Sahara Desert to Madagascar and adjacent islands. So Nearctic, Palearctic, Neotropical, Oriental, Ethiopian. And the next is Australian. It includes Australia, Tasmania, New Guinea, New Zealand, oceanic islands of the Pacific. It is believed that the millions of years ago, all the continents were present in the form of single land mass known as Pangaea. So Pangaea was a collective term given for all the continents which we can see today in the world map. So all the continents, they actually share the same boundaries. They are having a same attachment, and that bigger or the massive land region, which basically is having all the rims, was considered or was given the name Pangaea. Later on, due to various geological changes in the earth crust and the earth core, these continents drifted from one another. As these continents moved away, they got separated, their boundaries got distinct, separated by each other by seas in water. As these continents have different environmental conditions, so plants and animals evolved there of different varieties, means speciation, right? So, according to Alfred Russel Wallace, the whole world can be divided into major realms. These realms are six in number: Nearctic, Palearctic, Neotropical, Oriental, Ethiopian, and Australian. Okay, so these regions you have to remember, like Nearctic includes North America to Mexican islands and to Arctic islands and Greenland. Palearctic Europe, North Asia up to Himalayas, and North Africa to Sahara Desert. Neotropical Central and South America, Mexican lowlands, and West Indies. Oriental, South Himalayan regions, Asia, India, Ceylon, Malaya, Peninsula, Sumatra, Borneo, Java Celebes, and Philippines. Ethiopian, it includes South Africa from Sahara Desert till Madagascar and adjacent islands. Australian, it includes Australia, Tasmania, New Guinea, New Zealand, and ocean islands. So this is the evidences from biogeographical distribution. Now coming to next, this is given. Okay, so starting from Nearctic, it includes Mexican lowlands, North America till Arctic islands and Greenland. Then Palearctic. This is the Palearctic. It includes what? Palearctic. It basically is having the Asian part till Himalayas. Okay. Then Oriental from south of the Himalayas and from Sahara Desert to Madagascar and to different other adjacent islands. Then is Neotropical, then Ethiopian, and then Australian. Okay, I'll go through once again. Nearctic, North America to Mexican lowlands, Mexican highlands to Arctic island and Greenland. Palearctic, Europe, Asia up to Himalayas, and North Africa up to Sahara Desert. Oriental, Neotropical, Central and South America, Mexican lowlands, and West Indies. Oriental, Asia, south of Himalayas, India, Ceylon, Malaya, Sumatra, Peninsula, Borneo, Java Celebes, and Philippines. Ethiopian, South Africa from Sahara Desert till Madagascar and adjacent islands. Then Australia. Okay. Yeah, these are the examples. Protherians. This is the subclass of Mammalia which includes egg-laying mammals like Platypus and Echidna. Okay. After the evolution of protherians from reptiles, Australia got separated from mainland of Asia. Later on, eutherian mammals means true mammals evolved in Asia due to their carnivorous nature. Okay, in order carnivora, they destroyed protherians and metatherians. Metatherians means marsupials. Okay, so these groups become extinct on the mainland, but they survived in Australia due to absence of eutherians. So protherians, they basically actually they extend in the mainland, but they survived in the Australia due to absence of eutherians. Today, eutherians are also evolved, found in Australia. They were later transported by man. Marsupial, the subclass of class mammalian, includes kangaroo, opossum, which are found in Australia. Darwin finches. Darwin studied fauna and flora of Galapagos Islands, situated near South America, consi- consisted of 22 islands. Here he saw 22 types of finches. Elephant and lions are mainly found in Africa and India. Giraffe, zebra, hippopotamus are found only in Africa. Mainland of human evolution is Africa. So, Prototheria, the subclass of Mammalia, which includes egg-laying mammals. Example, platypus and echidna. Echidna is the spiny anteater. Then, after the evolution of protherians from reptiles, Australia got separated from Asia. Later on, eutherians evolved in Asia. Due to their carnivore nature, they destroyed protherians and metatherians. So these groups become extinct on the mainland, but they survived in the Australia due to the absence of eutherians. Today, eutherians are also found in Australia. Marsupial, the subclass of class mammalian, includes kangaroo, rat, and opossum. Darwin finches. Now, coming to next, these are Darwin finches. It is a very classical example of allopatric speciation. A related species of these birds were also present in South America continent. Probably some members of these species migrated to Galapagos Island, where these birds evolved in different species as a result of adaptation to the environment. So here you can see the adaptive radiation. These birds are known as Darwin finches. Darwin described that the particular species evolved in a particular area. Progenies of these species migrate to different geographical areas and are gradually adapted to changing environmental conditions. So according to Darwin, described that a particular species evolved in particular area. Okay, progenies of these species migrate to different geographical areas and gradually adapted to changing environmental conditions. These adaptations usually give rise to new species as a result of isolation. You can see here, this is the ancestral chart. Then the first is the prototherians. Okay, then the eutherians are formed. Okay, so now coming to next, these all are Darwin finches, medium finch, cactus ground finch, large cactus ground finch, barbarian finch, Pogo's finch, vegetarian tree finch. Okay, these all are Darwin finches, which are basically adapted on different islands. Okay, and they share a basic shape which is same. Okay, now coming to next, evidences from embryology. Okay, evidences from embryology includes Bayer's law. According to Bayer's law, an organism shows its ancestral stage in the embryonic development. In embryonic stage, general characters appear first, then the specialized characters appear. So, according to Bayer's law, an animal showing its ancestral stages in embryonic development. In embryonic stage, general characters appear first, then specialized characters. Mueller first to propose recapitulation theory. According to this theory, ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. It means an organism shows its ancestral adult stages during its embryonic development. It shows all the organisms evolved from a common ancestor. Ernest Haeckel explained in detail and gave the term biogenetic law. Okay, so zygotes from which the development of all metazoans starts are single-celled and quite comparable with the bodies of some protozoans. This indicates the origin of metazoa and protozoan ancestors. The early stages of embryonic development include mouth, blastula, gastrula, and basically similar in all metazoans, indicating monophyletic origin of the latter. The phylogenetically earliest metazoans, the sponges and cnidarians, have retained early gastrula-like double layer diploblastic due to the body of metazoans. Okay, so what are the different evidences from embryology? Bayer's law: an organism shows its ancestral stage in embryonic development. In embryonic stage, general characters appear first, then specialized characters appear. Mueller, first to propose recapitulation theory. According to ontogeny, recapitulate phylogeny, it means any organism shows its ancestral adult stages during its embryonic development. It shows all the organisms evolved from common ancestor. Examples are given. Okay. In fishes, the young individuals developing from gastrula is almost like the adult, but the tadpole of larvae of amphibians bear more resemblance to the young ones of fishes. Okay. Even after gastrulation in the vertebrates, the early post-gastrula stages. Even after gastrulation in the vertebrates, the early post-gastrula, mean after gastrulation, the stages are quite similar in the members of all the different classes: fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. The diversification of the class characters appear in the later stages. Moreover, the embryo of phylogenetically higher vertebrates, mean on the basis of genetical configuration of higher vertebrates, pass through the adult stages of lower vertebrate before final ancestors. And also both birds and mammals have evolved from reptiles. So the first is, in fishes, the young individual developing from gastrula is almost like an adult, but the tadpole larvae of amphibians bear more resemblance to the young ones or finches due to their own adults. This indicates origin of amphibians and fishes. Okay. Even after gastrulation in the vertebrates, the early post-gastrula stages are quite similar in the members of all the different classes: fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. The differentiation of class characters appear in the later stages. Moreover, embryo of phylogenetic importance. Okay. When the heart develops in the embryos of amphibians, reptiles, and birds and mammals, it is two-chambered, same as in case of embryos and adults of fishes. In later stages of embryonic development in amphibians, the reptiles, the heart becomes three-chambered. In birds and mammals, the heart is four-chambered. Modern scientists have discovered biochemical recapitulation also. For example, fishes may excrete ammonia. Adult amphibians excrete urea, but their tadpoles excrete ammonia like the fishes. Birds excrete uric acid, but their embryos secrete first ammonia and then urea. Okay, so first is the formation of ammonia, then urea. In embryological evidence, binds showed tooth buds. Okay, so when during embryological stage, the birds, they show tooth bud for some time, which become extinct later, and it show birds evolved from the toothed reptile-like ancestors. So this basically group, or I should say the infra class, includes different other concepts to be learned again and again. Till then, my students, take care. Bye bye. Stay safe. Stay at home.